Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Mishnah Yomi continues in the first parak of Maaser Sheni. Mishnah Gimel, Halokeach Behema Lezivchei Shlomim. He's in Yerushalayim. He's got his kesef, his coins of silver that he's redeemed his Maaser Sheni produce onto and brought the coins to Yerushalayim. And he uses this money to purchase a kosher behema, which is of a species that could be a carbon shlomim. And the Bartanur here points out, Shekachu Iker Mitzvah. This is the best way to spend your Maaser Sheni money of Maaser Sheni. Liknot Mem Shlomim, to buy a Shlomim. If you're coming to Yerushalayim anyway, you might as well buy a Shlomim and bring it to the Beit HaMikdash, and that's the most gishmak use of Maaser Sheni. O Haya Lebasar Taiva, the Mishnah continues, or you buy a wild animal, the kind that cannot become a carbon, and use it for basar taiva. That means meat you simply desire. It's not a carbon that the Torah mentions. It's totally chulin. So yatsa ha'or l'chulin. So the skin in these cases becomes chulin. The hides become chulin. Afal pi she'or meruba labasar. Even in cases where the skins, the hides, are worth more than the meat of the animal. So it's animal that is very gishmak hide that's going to become very valuable leather, even more valuable than the meat that is edible. Even so, you might have thought a person would then have to sell the hides and use that money to buy more Maaser Sheni food to actually consume the food. Now we say that the hide is merely the wrapper that the Maaser Sheni meat comes in, much like the klipa, the shell of an orange. The Mishnah continues with a similar din, kode yayin, pitchers, barrels of wine, stumot that are sold closed, makam shedarkon, lemacher stumot, in places where they sell them closed, yatsa kan l'chulin. So to the container also goes to chulin. He wouldn't have to sell the jug or the barrel and then use that money to buy more actual wine or actual Maaser Sheni in Yerushalayim. Now the Bartanura brings one caveat here, that if this man is a professional tanner, he's definitely using these hides in his profession, or a professional potter, then his eyes are on the hides or on the barrel as well. So it's as if when he buys the animal or he buys the barrel of wine, he's also buying separately the hides or the barrel, because he's going to use those professionally. So in that case, he would have to buy additional Maaser Sheni in that amount. The Mishnah continues, gozim v'shkedim, walnuts and almonds, yotzu klipeihen l'chulin. Their klipa always goes to chulin. It's considered part of the packaging of Maaser Sheni, and you don't have to purchase additional Maaser Sheni for the value of the klipa. It doesn't really have a value. Hatemed. Now, we actually mentioned temed at the very end of Masrot. It's sort of recycled wine. You took the pulp, the pits and the skins of pressed grapes that you press into wine. You add more water, and you kind of get sort of a watered-down wine beverage. We discussed back then, maybe the bracha might be shahakol, depending on your ratios here. So a temed ad shaliach, it hasn't fermented yet. Eino nilkach kesef meiser. It can't be purchased with Maaser Sheni. The Torah actually says you can buy wine and beer and animals, things that are really food, things that are really grow out of the ground and they're food. Mishaechmitz, once it ferments, nilkach bekesef meiser. It can be purchased with the money of Maaser Sheni. Mishnah Dalet, kind of a converse case here. Lokeach chaya lezivchei shlomim. He purchases a wild animal with the intent it should be a sacrifice, a shlomim. Now that doesn't work, because a chaya can't become a shlomim. So it's really quite a mistake. The Mishnah continues, or behema lebasar taiva, or he buys a kosher animal that could have been a shlomim rabosai, but he buys it just for his own backyard barbecue, not for the temple. Lo yatsa ha'or l'chulin. So unlike in Mishnah Gimel, here the skin does not become chulin. He's going to have to buy more Maaser Sheni keneged the skin. Now here it's not only the skin. The Bartanur points out it's the entire value of the animal doesn't count towards Maaser Sheni. Now we can understand, obviously, buying a chaya to be a carbon, it's impossible. So his purchase with Maaser Sheni money was not nitpas the kedusha, and he still has to go buy the same. He has to spend that money again on real Maaser Sheni, because this doesn't have kedusha Maaser Sheni. It didn't work. But the the regular behema, a kosher behema, just to have in the backyard, not as a carbon. So why wouldn't that work? So really, deraisa it would work, but the rabbis made a gezerah because they saw that people were bringing their Maaser Sheni to Yerushalayim, but they weren't bringing a shlamim. They weren't using it on shlamim. They were using it just on Basar Taiva, just to eat it in the backyard and not bring a carbon. And the karbanos, the temple, were being neglected, Nebuch. So when we have a temple, we need to appreciate what we have. And they made a gezerah that you really should be using your Maaser Sheni money when you buy meat as a shlamim. The Mishnah brings another case similar to Mishnah Gimel, called the Ein Petuchot. If you're buying jugs of wine that are opened, o stumot, or they're closed, but makom shedarkan limkur lemaka petuchot, but usually they sell them as open. So their expectation is that you return the jug or you return the barrel. They're not selling the barrel along with the wine. You're supposed to give it back. Lo yatzakon kan lechulin. So if he keeps that barrel or that jug, it does not become chulin, and he would have to buy more Maaser Sheni with that amount of money that he spent on the barrel, because Lamaisa, it wasn't a bundle deal. Sole zaitim, baskets of olives, sole anavim, baskets of grapes, imakli. So he bought a basket full of grapes, but he also was paying for the basket. That was part of the deal. Lo yatsa demei hakli lechulin. The amount of the receptacle, the basket, whatever it is, does not become chulin. He has to spend more money on Maaser Sheni, keneged that value, because when you're buying a basket of grapes, the basket isn't thrown in. So the fact that he took the basket means he paid a little bit more money of Maaser Sheni for the basket, and you don't actually eat the basket, you just eat the grapes. So he has to spend the money with the on the value of the kli, or he's going to become a basket case. Shkoyach, Rabosai, good Shabbos.